It's time for Northwestern Outdoors Radio, the award-winning show that covers fishing, hunting, and all sorts of outdoor recreation here in the Great Northwest. Northwestern Outdoors is brought to you every week by Max Lure Company, a legacy of innovation since 1969, by Loophole Optics, America's optical authority, by Camp Chef, the way to cook outdoors,
by Wallowa County.
Nature is on display in Northeast Oregon, and by The Real News, your fishing resource. Also by Shiloh Inns and Suites, providing you with affordable excellence. And by Mardon Resort, the place for fishing, hunting, and more in Eastern Washington. And now, it's time to head outside with your host, John Cruz.
It's April and we've got two things on our mind this month. Whitewater rafting season is the first one. It's already kicking off. I'm seeing rafters on the Wenatchee River in Central Washington, and I can pretty well guarantee you they're also navigating the whitewater on the Deschutes, the White Salmon, the Klickitat, the Skagit, and Snake Rivers too, now and in the weeks ahead. If you haven't tried this before, you should. It is a ton of fun, and Marty Smith with Three Rivers Resort and Rafting is going to tell you about the river trips you can take for a day or close to a week on several northern Idaho rivers, some of which you've probably never heard of before, but you're going to want to raft and fish after you hear about them here on this show. Speaking of fishing, that's the other activity that comes to mind this time of year, and we've got a whole bunch of it coming your way during the next hour. Lance Mers with Max Lure Company is going to talk about the differences between different spinner blades you see on lures and offer his advice on what you ought to use to catch fish this spring. After that, we're going to talk to Chris Pizzell. He's the fishing manager at the brand new Sportsman's Warehouse store at the north end of Spokane at Division and Francis. He's got some suggestions on some places where you'll want to cast a line this spring for trout, bass, and muskie. Sticking with fishing, I've got to ask you a question. Did you know they stock catfish in lakes here in the Northwest? I didn't, at least not until I talked to a biologist with the Department of Fish and Wildlife about this. It turns out quite a few lakes in both eastern and western Washington are stocked with catfish. Even Green Lake in Seattle, that's right, that downtown lake is chock full of catfish. That's just one of the waters we're going to be telling you all about. We'll head from the freshwater to the saltwater when we talk to Rob Gudgel with Pacific Salmon Charters about what promises to be a very good halibut season this May in the Pacific Ocean near Astoria. Throw in a few more fishing reports, upcoming events, and our weekly trivia question from Sportsman's Warehouse, where you'll get a chance to win a $25 gift card from America's premier outfitter, and we've got another great show coming your way. But first, if you spend time outdoors, you know that once it gets dark, a good flashlight comes in really handy. This week on Sportsman Spotlight, David Sparks talks to Jonathan Holt with Sportsman's Warehouse about an innovative flashlight and work light that you'll love to have in the field, whether you're camping or hunting. Sportsman Spotlight is brought to you by the Northwest Ag Information Network and sponsored by Nate Luther, the guide who wants to take you fishing in Hell's Canyon for sturgeon and smallmouth bass this spring and summer. Find out more at NateLuthersGuideservice.com.
A portable, multi-purpose work light for the avid outdoorsman. David Sparks with Sportsman Spotlight. According to sales associate Jonathan Holt, they're flying off the shelves at the gift bar at Sportsman's Warehouse.
We've been doing pretty good with a lot of our Nebo flashlights. Have you heard of the slide one where it's like a work light and a flashlight at the same time?
Tell me how that works.
So basically what it is, it's like a normal flashlight. It's about a 200 lumen flashlight, so you click the button once and it comes out the top. And then you open up the handle and it slides out, and then you got a work light in the handle as it slides out with a magnet on the very end, so where you can just, put that on a metal surface, have it magnetized, and just use it as an actual work light. That's about a 200 lumen light there as well. So it's all one unit, and it sells for $30, and it's just a great working tool. I actually sold quite a few of those, been having a hard time getting those back in.
Jonathan pointed out a great application for hunters.
If you had that on like a four-wheeler or something like that, you could just put that on your actual four-wheeler and just put that on the side there where you can just turn on that work light. And, if you're running a little late as far as cleaning up your buck and everything, quartering it up, it'd be a good way to just have that light illuminating over the top of it. Hands-free device with a magnet on the back.
Also be great to hang up inside a tent and have the inside be totally illuminated. Must be a million different things that this is a very useful tool for the avid outdoorsman. This is David Sparks for Sportsman Spotlight.
In the depth of Hell's Canyon, a monster sturgeon swims within the waters of the Snake River. He measures anywhere from 6 to 11 feet long and weighs out not in pounds, but in hundreds of pounds. You can fight him and you can catch him, but you'll need help to do so. That's where Nate Luther comes in. He's been navigating the rapids within Hell's Canyon for years and knows how to catch these sturgeon like no other man on the water. Find out more by going to Nate Luther's Facebook page at Nate Luther's Guide Service or give Nate a call at 208-503-9204. That's 208-503-9204 for Nate Luther's Guide Service.
It doesn't matter what sort of adventure you're after. Whether it's big game deep in the backcountry, a day of fishing out on the water, or an overnight in the great outdoors. At Sportsman's Warehouse, we've got the gear in here for what you need out there. Gear up for your next adventure at one of the Sportsman's Warehouse stores or shop online. Sportsman's Warehouse, America's premier outfitter.
The two-burner camp stove has evolved, and today's line of portable camp stoves from Camp Chef have come a long way from your father's propane stove, featuring matchless ignition, more cooking power, and in some cases a built-in grill or extra burner. And you've got what you need to whip up some great grub in the field. Look for the complete line of Mountain Series stoves at your local sporting goods store. Camp Chef, the way to cook outdoors.
Back with Northwestern Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. We're broadcasting from the Bighorn Outdoor Adventure Show in Spokane, and we've run across a friend of mine. It's Marty Smith. He's with Three Rivers Resort and Rafting out of Lowell, Idaho. It's located in north central Idaho at the confluence of three rivers, the Clearwater, the Lochsaw, and the Selway, and there's some awesome whitewater rafting to be done there this spring and summer. Marty, welcome back.
Nice to see you, John. Really nice to see you. We love it up here at the Bighorn Show in Spokane. It's actually our 20th year.
Unbelievable. You've been here 20 years?
20 years having a booth at the Bighorn Show. The Spokane market is really good for us. They're not afraid to get in the car and drive down for some good whitewater.
Well, I'll tell you what, we've got folks listening in Missoula, we got folks listening in Pullman and Moscow and Lewiston, we've got folks listening all over the Northwest, and having been to your resort and getting to spend a little time on the water with you last summer, I cannot recommend Three Rivers Resort and Rafting highly enough. But what I didn't get to do was the hardcore whitewater stuff, and I understand that starting in May, running through July, you've got some Class 4 whitewater rafting being offered on the Lochsaw River.
The Lochsaw is a gem. It's a steep river, really splashy, and lots of rapids, and we really, really enjoy it. We dress warm. We go about 22 miles a day, have a big lunch, and it is just a real kick in the pants.
Now, this is a one-day trip, and like you said, lots of whitewater involved. Do you have to have experience to go on this?
About half the people that come with us are first-timers. The other half have a lot of experience, and they come from all over just to get to this river. The Lochsaw River is no experience required, just need to be able to follow directions.
The thing about the Lochsaw, folks, is it runs right along the highway. So there's actually places you can pull out and watch these whitewater rafters do their things and go through the rapids. Now, you've got these big, 8-person rafts that you can use on the Lochsaw?
Yeah, depending on the level, at the big water, we'll put 8 folks plus a guide. A lot of the time, it'll be 6 plus the guide, and even less when the water drops.
22 miles seems like a long trip, but I guess because it's just such a fast river, that's why you can do it in one day?
Absolutely. It goes. Actually, try and slow ourselves down. We'll eddy out, regroup. We'll scout a few rapids every day just to see. Every day is different up there with different conditions, and so, yeah, it hauls through there.
Tell me a little bit about the day itself. If I book one of these trips, I'm going to meet you at the resort, and what happens next?
Well, we have an orientation in the morning at 8:30. Talk about what we're going to do and how to get dressed. We supply all the gear. Get dressed, have a big group photo, hop on one of our buses and head upriver. Safety talk, get 10 miles in, stop for a big lunch, and then we do another 10 or 12 miles after lunch and get back to our base at Three Rivers Resort at about 4 or 5 in the afternoon to look at some photos and videos and whatnot, and recount the day.
So once you get back to the resort, you don't have to be in a hurry to go home because they've actually got some cabins that are right on the river there. Great place to go ahead and spend the night. And like you said, recount the day. Let's talk about lunch, though. I'm very food-oriented, Marty. So tell me, what do you usually offer for lunch on the river?
Well, we have fried chicken every day, and I'm the master of that. I've been doing it my whole career. I get up early and we fry this chicken. It's got a honey stung batter, and then we bake it, and it steams until lunch. We serve that with some salads and cornbread, honey butter, and it's outstanding.
Oh, it sounds fantastic, and better still, you'll work it all off. It's all good. You don't have to feel guilty about this. So we've got the one-day trips on the Lochsa, but let's talk about some other ones. And folks, again, you're listening to Northwestern Outdoors Radio. We're talking to Marty Smith with Three Rivers Resorts and Rafting in northern Idaho. One-day trip on the Lochsa. I understand you've got some trips on the Selway, too. I got to spend a little time with you on the Selway. Very scenic river. I like it a lot. Tell me about the multi-day trips you offer.
The Selway River trip is our premier trip. It's a 5-day float that goes through the Selway Bitterroot Wilderness Area, 1.2 million acres, roadless and motorless, and the access is very restricted. We're very lucky to have 5 launches a year. We go up there, spend 5 days, catch a lot of fish. It's very rugged, it's expedition style, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful trip in the middle of nowhere.
So this isn't so much a whitewater trip on the Selway. This is more of a wilderness expedition with some trout fishing thrown in.
That's correct. Although there is plenty of whitewater up there, it's still a steep river, and we manage it very carefully. But fishing opportunities are outstanding because of the solitude. These are hungry fish. They don't get fish. There's very little pressure. And so a lot of the places that we're throwing flies or dragging lures, just those holes haven't even been fished all year.
Marty, you're really speaking to me here. I love trout fishing, and I got a taste of this on our watermelon float. It's just a little half-day float that you offer on the lower Selway. But I like those cutthroat trout. Are we talking cutthroat trout all the way up the Selway?
Yeah, they're a native West Slope cutthroat, and they're very healthy. It's a catch-and-release fishery, and so they're protected, and these are strong fish that we once in a while we'll get into a rainbow or something else, but it's definitely the cutthroat that we're going after.
Oh, this sounds great. So you've got solitude, you've got the wilderness, you've got some whitewater, you've got some great trout fishing, and you're camping for 4 nights as well. I understand there's probably some good food involved. Is fried chicken involved here too, or something else?
We don't do the fried chicken on the Selway, John, but we do. We're foodies, and we love it. We have full dinners, surf and turf, and we cook with Dutch ovens and have an hors d'oeuvre hour and even a cocktail hour, big breakfast and lunch. So we're really proud of it. The guides are very confident in what they do.
I'm guessing on a trip like this, you probably see a fair amount of wildlife too.
Yeah, we do. We see moose and bear. We see mountain lion, a lot of deer. Had bears swim the river right in front of our boats. We've floated through elk herds with counted 80 to 100 elk on the hillside on both sides of the river. Lots of birds. It's a really neat, barren almost, and very quiet landscape.
Marty, this sounds like the absolute trip of a lifetime. You've got me completely sold on this. But I guess we have to talk about one other trip you have too on the Lower Salmon River. This is also a 5-day trip. Tell me more about this one.
Lower Salmon's an amazing trip. It's our family trip. It's got big white sand beaches and warmer water. And what we do is we spend 5 days meandering down through there. We've got some good Class 3 and a few Class 4 rapids. It's a great trip for all ages. Most of our trips are multi-generational, and we have, we use that same menu, and you can paddle a kayak or ride in the raft and do a little fishing on the side.
So on the Lower Salmon, is it also cutthroat, or what are you catching there?
We're catching mostly rainbow, and as the trip goes on, we actually get into some smallmouth bass. We can catch those on the fly. There are Chinook salmon and steelhead in the river, but what we're going after are the trout.
What's the time frame for both the Selway River and the Lower Salmon River? If you want to do one of these multi-day trips, what are we looking at in terms of the summer months?
The Selway runs a little earlier, and it's June and July, and our Lower Salmon trips are a little bit later. They're July and August, and we'd love to get you out there.
So there you go, folks. You've got The Lochsaw River, if you just want that adrenaline blast for one day, that's your choice for May through July. If you want to go on basically a wilderness expedition, the Selway River trip sounds incredible. Some trout fishing thrown in too, June and July time frame. And then you got the Lower Salmon River, another great trip. Great for the whole family or generations of the family, July through August. And of course, if you're looking for a place to stay, it's hard to beat Three Rivers Resort at the confluence of the Selway, Lochsaw, and Clearwater Rivers in north central Washington. Let's give out a website so folks can find out more.
Thank you, John. You come to our website at www.idaho3rivers.com. That's Idaho, the numeral 3, rivers with an S.com.
Again, that's Idaho3, the number 3, rivers.com, Idaho3rivers.com for Three Rivers Resort and Rafting. Marty, always a pleasure to talk to you. Thanks for sharing this with us on Northwestern Outdoors Radio.
Good to see you, John. I can't wait till the next time you visit.
Looking for the ultimate cooking machine for your backyard or patio? Look no further than Camp Chef's new pellet grill and smoker. With user-friendly features like an auto ignition, digital readouts, and internal meat temperature sensors, it's easy to smoke the tastiest salmon, ribs, brisket, and turkey you'll ever eat. And an innovative system makes cleanup a snap. Everyone will want the food you're cooking on your Camp Chef pellet grill and smoker, the quality smoker that's second to none. Find out more at campchef.com. Camp Chef, the way to cook outdoors.
You demand quality performance from your binoculars, whether you use them in the field, on the water, or at a stadium. But you don't want to spend a fortune. That's where the BX Mackenzie binoculars from Leupold come in. These armored, waterproof binoculars are both comfortable and dependable. Look for your Mackenzie binoculars at quality sporting goods retailers near you, to include your Cabela's, Sportsman's Warehouse, or Northwest Bi-Mart stores. BX Mackenzie, bringing your world into sharper focus, only from Leupold.
We're back with John Cruz on Northwestern Outdoors Radio.
It's time for another Max Minute.
Fish on!
Brought to you every week by Max Lure Company. With us here again is Lance Mers. Lance, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, John.
Lance, let's do a little bit of Tackle 101 today. Max Lure has a product called the Smile Blade. Most anglers, though, are used to fishing something called a Colorado blade or an Indiana blade. What are the differences between these blades?
Well, John, the Colorado or Indiana blade is made of a metal-type construction. It's kind of a teardrop looking apparatus. You got to use a clevis with it. It's got those small little holes, and I've got big meat claws for hands, so it's really hard for me to get that in there, especially on a cold day when you're on the water.
Sure.
The perfect thing about the Smile Blade is that all you need is a bead and a Smile Blade. Smile Blade is lightweight, mylar plastic. You can pinch down that Smile Blade, and it gives you more faster, erratic action in the water. Or you can fold the blades up, and it'll keep its form, giving you a less spin, but it's still enough action in the water. It's absolutely fantastic. Since I switched over to the Smile Blades, I do nothing but Smile Blades and not Indiana blades or Colorado blades anymore.
You know, that is an interesting thing about this. The Smile Blade, because it's made of mylar, it spins at ultra slow speeds, where normal Colorado and Indiana blades, those metal blades, are literally just hanging in the water and not doing a thing for you. So if you are going to be fishing in a situation where you're going to be fishing slow, or you're fishing stop and go and you want some action when that lure drops, consider the Smile Blade, the mylar blade that's patented by Max Lure Company, and put those Colorado and Indiana blades away for another time. Lance, thanks for the information, and that wraps up another Max Minute from Max Lure Company.
The road is calling you to experience one of Oregon's 7 wonders, the Wallowas. So grab your camping equipment and fishing gear and head out to Northeast Oregon, where you'll find the views are endless, the air crisp and clean, and the water's cold and clear. Set up camp by the shores of Wallowa Lake or in the heart of the Wallowa-Whitman National Forest. Take your fishing gear and cast your bait into the deep waters of Wallowa Lake, or roll your fly into one of the eddies of the many freestone creeks and rivers teeming with fish. This summer, take the road that leads to wonders. It begins at WallowaCountyChamber.com.
Hello, I'm Mark Hempstreet, owner of Shiloh Inns. Shiloh is proud to be celebrating over 40 years of providing you, our valued Shiloh customers, with Shiloh's sincere friendliness, efficient customer service, and clean, comfortable, attractive, non-smoking rooms and suites, all at an affordable price. Shiloh also offers many free amenities like free Wi-Fi, and free continental breakfast or hot, full, delicious breakfast at most Shiloh Inns, as well as pools, spas, steam, sauna rooms, exercise fitness facilities, and business centers. And even the kids stay free. And for you dog lovers, Shiloh is very dog friendly. So ask your best friend where he or she wants to stay. Next time you're traveling for business or pleasure, we think you'll get a paws up for Shiloh Inns. For reservations, call 1-800-222-2244 or visit our website at shilohins.com. Shiloh Inns, affordable excellence. American family owned and proud of it.
Pheasants Forever is working hard every day to ensure there's more wildlife habitat for the future. To join us, go to pheasantsforever.org.
I'm gonna take you fishing, honey. You're gonna love it. Gonna get up before the sun.
Welcome back to Northwestern Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. We're broadcasting from the Bighorn Outdoor Adventure Show in Spokane. If you haven't been to Spokane lately, you've got to head up to Division Street near Francis, the north end of Spokane, because you're going to find a brand new Sportsman's Warehouse store. With us here, tell us more about it, is fishing manager Chris Pizzell. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir.
Chris, this is exciting. Brand new store, your brand new job here as a manager. Tell us more about this new Sportsman's Warehouse store.
Yes, we opened on March 7th, grand opening. We've got a great crew in there, not just in fishing, but a management crew. We brought in some managers from across the country to get up here and get this rolling, and specifically in the fishing department, we got a gentleman named Wayne Jordan, who's very familiar with the area and a very good resource, so come in and see him, as well as a gentleman named Joseph Chenier. He's a very good bass fisherman, so come on in and meet these guys and get some good information.
You know, I like the fact that you're up in the north end and servicing that area because, you know, there's a lot of good sporting goods stores in the Spokane region, but they generally tend to be in the valley or east towards Post Falls, so being up there on the north end of Spokane, you're giving access to a really good sporting goods store that a lot of people haven't had very good access to before, so that's great. One thing I want to talk about next is the fishing, because there are so many lakes around the Spokane area that are great for fishing, especially in the spring. Let's run through a few of them, and let's start off with some of the trout lakes. What are a few lakes you would send people to in April and May for some good trout fishing?
Yeah, well, a lot of them are opening up on the 4th Saturday of April, so be sure that you're checking the website from Washington on dates of openings and everything. But as far as trout go, you're going to want to hit West Medical Lake and Fish Lake just past Cheney. They'll be heating up and full of hungry trout. You'll want to be throwing some chironomids at them as well as some buggers. Around that time, they'll be really full of big fish and ready to go.
You know, West Medical Lake, always a very popular place for a lot of people in the Spokane region to go. Fish Lake, the thing I like about that one, it's right near the Columbia Plateau Trail. So, you know, bring your hiking boots or bring your bicycle too, do a little fishing and get some exercise. Another lake that I like, Chris, I don't know if you fished it yet, but further down the trail, so to speak, along the Columbia Plateau Trail and a little bit off to the east is Williams Lake, one of the best trout fishing lakes in the area. Have you had a chance to fish that one yourself?
Not yet. When they let me out of the store, I get out on the water as much as I can. So give me a little bit of time and I'll get out there.
Let's talk about some other fishing lakes that you'd recommend.
Yeah, for the warm water fishermen, we got those guys targeting bass and muskie and panfish. We'll start heading to Silver, Aloyka, and Newman lakes as the water starts to warm in April.
So Newman is a muskie lake. Aloyka, very good largemouth bass lake. Turning our attention back to trout. You're a fly fisherman. Why don't you tell me a couple places that you personally really like to fish around here?
A couple weeks ago, I was out at Rocky Ford. Had a fantastic day. It does get crowded, so I got out there nice and early and solidified a piece of water. And they were taking scuds left and right, as well as olive-colored streamers. They were hitting them all day. It really peaked right around 1 o'clock, actually, in the afternoon. 1 to 3, I was doing really well, and then it died off from about 3 to 5, and that's when I called it a day.
That's pretty amazing. You must be a fine fly fisherman, because most people who go to Rocky Ford, they struggle. Folks, it's not that the fish aren't there. They're there, but they're educated. They've seen just about everything. This is basically a spring-fed water that you can fish year-round, and it gets pounded on by very good fly fishermen all year long. What was your secret to success?
I would wait for those players coming by, doing a lot of spot fishing, and I'd lay that scud in front of them by about 2 yards, and they would come up and sniff it and literally circle around it, come by and pick it up off the bottom their second time by it. And then with the streamer, same thing. Don't go after the fish just holding in the water. Wait for one that's trolling around.
So when it comes to these rainbow trout, what was the average size you were catching out there at Rocky Ford?
The smallest one I got was 18 inches. So.
Wow, that's the smallest?
That was the smallest. I got one up to 24 inches.
Wow, catch and release fishery out here, folks. But if you want a challenge after some big rainbow trout, Rocky Ford is a great place to go any time of year. Any other places you've been fishing lately?
Yes, I hit Medical last week and did really well. I got my pontoon boat out, and I was trolling around with a sink line with a woolly bugger and a damsel nymph trailing behind it, actually. Did really well on those, as well as a white muddler. Believe it or not, the white really got them going, and I got a couple of big browns on that. But again, it was deep. We were about 20 to 30 feet deep in there, so...
All right, well, there's some tips for you, folks. You can get more tips by going to the Sportsman's Warehouse store. It's on Division, near Francis, north end of Spokane. Brand new store. As you heard Chris say, there's a lot of fishing knowledge in-house there, so take advantage of it and check out the seminars that are coming up, too. You can find out more at sportsmanswarehouse.com. Chris, thanks for telling us all about this and about the great fishing in the Spokane area on Northwestern Outdoors Radio.
Thank you, sir.
Our next field report comes from the Pacific Northwest Sportsman Show in Portland. We're talking to Rob Gudgel with Pacific Salmon Charters out of Ilwaco. May 1st is the opener for the halibut season. Is that both in Washington and in Oregon?
They have different quotas and different starting dates for each section of quota. We start May 1st, and it goes Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday of every day of the week until the quota is met. Even though they might be closed in other areas, Westport or down at Garibaldi or near Bay or someplace like that, we are still open. We were still open in August. We left fish on the table last year. I actually limited it every single day last year on halibut.
Wow. What is the limit for halibut, and what's the average size for halibut off the mouth of the Columbia River?
For Oregon, Washington, and California, the limit is 1 halibut per person per day. The average size of halibut it varies in each section, but mainly you're looking anywhere from 25 to 65 pounds. Probably on the average is probably a good 20, 28-pound fish, somewhere around in there.
Well, that's perfect eating size. And how far offshore do you have to go to get into these fish?
Well, where we fish is mainly about 20 miles offshore. We know where the halibut lay. There's fish through the whole area, but mainly to target the fish that we want to catch and limit the boat on, it's about 20 miles run for us.
And how are you going about catching them? What sort of techniques and lures are you using to do it?
Well, we're fishing with tough line, 80-pound test. We're fishing roughly around 600 feet of water. We're using a bait mixture of squid, mackerel, tuna bellies work very well. We're even using some shad. We marinate it and stuff like that. We're using big J hooks. We're basically controlling the drift with the boat so we can target those fish in those particular areas that we know that they sit on.
Now, this sounds like a fantastic trip. How much does it cost?
The trip for halibut trip is $205 plus tax per person. That includes all your rod and reel, bait and tackle. There, you can walk around the boats completely. We only put 12 people on a boat at a time. There's full bathrooms. We have coffee. It's a great trip. Weather plays a role in it sometimes, but if it's too nasty to fish, we can do other things. We've got bottom fishing is great inside, but the halibut fishing is excellent out of the mouth of the Columbia River.
There you go, folks. Another reason to go fishing near the mouth of the Columbia River. It's Pacific Salmon Charters. They're located in Ilwaco. Give them a call at 1-800-831-2695. That's 1-800-831-2695. They've got a website, too. It's PacificSalmonCharters.com. That's PacificSalmonCharters.com. They'll take you halibut fishing. They'll take you bottom fishing in. A little bit later in the year, salmon and tuna fishing, too. Rob, thanks for telling us all about it on Northwestern Outdoors Radio.
Thank you very much, and everybody have a great time fishing.
Rise above us, got a bamboo pole and a leaky boat. It ain't much, but if you bail, it'll float. I'm gonna take you fishing, honey. You're gonna love it.
That's the sound you hear when a fish hits the new Sonic bait fish from Max Lure Company. This metal lure can be cast, trolled, or jigged and will catch just about anything that swims in the sea, the river, or the lake. The Sonic bait fish has a unique vibration and flutter that can be rigged in 7 different ways. With all sorts of eye-catching colors and weights available, you'll be reaching for the Sonic bait fish as your go-to lure. It's the Sonic bait fish. And that's another fish on, only from Max Lure Company.
Nate Luther wants to take you fishing for monster sturgeon on the Snake River and Hell's Canyon. If you're looking for a fishing adventure, this one is hard to beat. Find out more by going to Nate's Facebook page at Nate Luther's Guide Service or give Nate a call at 208-503-9204. That's 208-503-9204 for Nate Luther's Guide Service.
I'd like to tell you I just brought down that buck, but I didn't. I missed. And you know why I missed? Because of the scope I've got on my rifle. You see, my friends told me to get a Leupold rifle scope. Why? Well, because Leupold is America's optical authority. They make a huge variety of quality scopes for every need, and they make them right here in the Northwest. Unfortunately, I didn't listen. Now, I've got nothing to look forward to except a long, empty-handed walk back home. Next time I come out into the field, there's going to be a Leupold scope on my rifle.
Leupold rifle scopes. Check out the whole line at leupold.com and look for them at a sporting goods store near you.
With an Evinrude motor and Minn Kota troller and Lowrance fish finder or two.
You're back with Northwestern Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz, and it's time again for news and reports from the field, brought to you every week by Mardon Resort at Eastern Washington's Potholes Reservoir. As a matter of fact, I just got back from a delightful stay at Mardon Resort. Took the kids there, took the dogs. We fished for trout, fished for walleye, explored some of the nearby seep lakes at the Columbia National Wildlife Refuge, saw all sorts of wildlife, and just had a fantastic spring break getaway. If you want to do the same thing, well, just go to mardonresort.com. They've got a brand new updated website where you can find out everything you need about having fun in Eastern Washington on the water. The website again is mardonresort.com. That's mardonresort.com, where the fish bite, but we don't. Another reminder about our Sportsman's Warehouse trivia question of the week coming up in just a few minutes. You will have a chance to win a $25 gift card from Sportsman's Warehouse. All you have to do is answer the question correctly on our Facebook page at Northwestern Outdoors Radio or through our website at northwesternoutdoors.com, and you are entered to win. Let's start off with some fishing reports, and we are going to start off at the combined border of Oregon, Idaho, and Washington, where fishing guide Nate Luther reports the water has been a bit cool on the Snake River, but that hasn't stopped the sturgeon and smallmouth bass from biting in Hell's Canyon. Trophy sturgeon and good numbers of smallmouth are already being caught, and as the water warms up, it's only going to get better. You can find out more about fishing with Nate Luther on the Snake River by going to NateLuthersGuideservice.com. In Montana, the Grizzly Hackle Fly Shop in Missoula reports that Clark Fork was blown out last week, but the Missouri River at Holter Dam was a very different story where you could literally pick your poison and catch a fish on it. Nymphing is one way to do it, and you can still catch trout on typical spring-winter stuff like Amex, Zex, purple weight, scuds, and sows. Micromays are beginning to work as well, and dry fly fishing is there too if you are willing to stick with it. Think midges, but blue wing olives are going to pop soon. And don't forget the streamers, so you'll do better fishing them on cloudy days over sunny ones. Find out more about fishing in western Montana with a stop at the Grizzly Hackle Fly Shop in Missoula or shop online at their website at grizzlyhackle.com. And in southeast Oregon, the water levels are up at Anna Reservoir, where you can go after hybrid bass, a cross between white and striped bass. The Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife reports the bass are being caught by anglers using crankbait and also by fishermen using bait because, well, it's just hard to beat a night crawler, you know what I mean? Bring your trout gear too, because the reservoir is being stocked with rainbows this week, and those fish are going to be 12 to 14 inches in size. And if the fishing at the reservoir is not so good, head downstream. The Anna River is a very good trout fishery. Smaller ones closer to the dam, bigger ones as you get downstream. That's Anna Reservoir and the Anna River in southeast Oregon. Next on Northwestern Outdoors Radio, we've stumbled across something, well, that some people have known about for a while, but most of you don't. The Department of Fish and Wildlife here in Washington State, well known for stocking trout throughout the state, but I bet you didn't know that they stock channel catfish as well. With us here to tell us more about this program is Eric Anderson. He's the Fish Program District Biologist for the Yakima and Kittitas County region. Eric, tell me about this.
Yeah, well, it's a interesting fish that really caters to some portion of the angling public. Channel catfish, very sporty fish, very good eating. We've been stocking channel cats in this area off and on about every 2 to 3 years for the past 15 years.
That's amazing. And folks, there's 27,000 of these fish have been stocked in 2014 on the east side of the state and another 27,000 on the west side of the state. And it looks like some of the lakes that have gotten really big plants, Campbell Lake over in Skagit County got 6,000 planted, Lawrence in Thurston County 4,000, St. Clair in Thurston 4,500, Swofford in Lewis County, 3,500, and Green Lake in King County, right there in Seattle, got 5,000 channel cats. And tell me about some of the stockings here in eastern Washington.
Right. Well, here locally in the Region 3 area of Yakima, Kittitas County, there's a number of the local gravel pit ponds in and around Yakima and Ellensburg area. Most of those ponds have received channel catfish, including the I-82 ponds, Rotary Lake, the Fiorito, and some of the others around here in the Yakima and Ellensburg area. And freshwater, easy to get to places where people can go out and use bait to catch these things. And these fish may range anywhere from 2 to 12 pounds commonly.
Wow, and great eating too. A couple other places to tell you about. Sprague Lake over in Lincoln and Adams County got 4,000 of these fish. Roses Lake in Chelan, small little lake, but got 2,500 fish. Potholes Reservoir, 3,500 fish. Whitestone Lake up in Okanagan County got 2,000. And Scootney Reservoir in Franklin County, 3,000 fish. So let's talk about catching them. What's the basic method? If somebody says, I want to go catch some channel cats, and you were to tell them one method, what would you recommend?
Well, personally, I really like a nice big glob of night crawlers on your hook and just put it out there and let it sink to the bottom. Some people will use cut bait, like a piece of fish. They catch a little minnow or something, cut it up and put that on as bait. Some people will use chicken livers, put that on. Catfish are not real particular. They'll take just about anything as long as it's some kind of a, meat or worm product on a hook. Put it out there in a big blob of that, and they'll take just about any of it, and you'll be in for a fight, especially if you get something in the 10 to 20 pound range, and that's not uncommon to get something that big.
Well, folks, again, I think a lot of people are aware that there's catfishing available on the Snake River near the mouth of the Palouse, and in other places as well in the big river systems, also the John Day River. That's just, a tributary there of Columbia River, another good place for channel catfishing. But I don't think people are very aware about this program where lakes are being stocked. So, again, you've been doing this since about 2000, you said, early 2000, 2001, that time frame. Where are you getting the fish?
Well, actually, we've been doing it a little bit longer than that, but not on a real consistent basis. Probably only in the last 15 years, and particularly last 5 to 10 years, have we really been doing it on a real consistent basis. Actually getting the effort to go get a big tanker truck of fish, bring them into the state, and stock them in these specific locations. And, we've been doing this. I remember the planting in 2005 was a big plant. We didn't do anything for a few years. We had another big one in 2011 and another big one in 2014. But we've actually been stocking some of these going back into the early 90s in some of the areas in and around Yakima. And, in fact, the state record catfish is from this area, 36 pounds. And before that, the record before that was also in Yakima County area at 32 pounds. So,
wow.
Those are all fish that have been stocked here, but we've really put more of a focused effort to stock these in various areas around the state to provide some real different kind of angling opportunities and diversity out there for the public. And they're really popular fish. We call them the other adipose fish. Trout have that little adipose fin on the back. Well,
right.
So do channel catfish.
Well, there you go.
Different families of fish altogether.
Well, there you go, folks. Another fishery available for you, one you probably didn't know about. Again, it's channel catfish in lakes throughout Washington State. You heard some of the lakes we mentioned. I'm guessing the best time frame is basically April throughout the summer months?
Typically the warmer water periods, yeah. So when it starts warming up, channel catfish start getting active, and that's when to go out and get after them.
One more thing. Is it true that night fishing is best?
Night fishing is better for channel cats. Very true, yeah. But, you can catch them in the daytime, too. I mean, take your pick, take your medicine. But, yeah, some of the old-timers will tell you that best fishing's at night.
Channel catfish, folks. The Northwest is more than trout and more than salmon and steelhead. This is a great opportunity. Eric, thanks for telling us all about it on Northwestern Outdoors.
Absolutely. We'll have information at most of the regional offices if people want to find out more about it.
Fantastic.
With musky spinners and lures. Oh, honey, I love you, and that's not a lie. Musky guides all tell the truth. This must be the reason Why I miss fishing more than I miss you.
Looking for the ultimate cooking machine for your backyard or patio? Look no further than Camp Chef's new pellet grill and smoker. With user-friendly features like an auto ignition, digital readouts, and internal meat temperature sensors, it's easy to smoke the tastiest salmon, ribs, brisket, and turkey you'll ever eat. And an innovative system makes cleanup a snap. Everyone will want the food you're cooking on your Camp Chef pellet grill and smoker, the quality smoker that's second to none. Find out more at campchef.com. Camp Chef, the way to cook outdoors.
Nate Luther wants to take you fishing for monster sturgeon on the Snake River and Hell's Canyon. If you're looking for a fishing adventure, this one is hard to beat. Find out more by going to Nate's Facebook page at Nate Luther's Guide Service or give Nate a call at 208-503-9204. That's 208-503-9204 for Nate Luther's Guide Service.
It doesn't matter what sort of adventure you're after. Whether it's big game deep in the backcountry, a day of fishing out on the water, or an overnight in the great outdoors. At Sportsman's Warehouse, we've got the gear in here for what you need out there. Gear up for your next adventure at one of the Sportsman's Warehouse stores or shop online. Sportsman's Warehouse, America's premier outfitter.
We're back with one last cast from John Cruz on Northwestern Outdoors Radio.
It's time again for upcoming events and for our weekly trivia question brought to you every weekend by Sportsman's Warehouse. As we told you last week, Eastman's Trophy Deer Tour is on tour, showing off some incredible trophy mounts, sharing expert hunting advice, and showing off gear new for 2015. The Trophy Deer Trailer and Crew will be at the Sportsman's Warehouse store in East Wenatchee, April 17th through the 19th, and at the Missoula Sportsman's Warehouse store, April 24th through the 26th. Check it out. I plan on doing so because word has it, this is downright impressive. Last week, we gave you an easy question about what kind of salmon were fitting their way up the Columbia River this time of year, and just about everyone guessed correctly when they said it was the spring Chinook salmon, but only one person won that $25 gift card. This week, we are going to challenge you a bit more, so put on your thinking caps and answer this question. This bird is called a marsh hawk. You've probably seen it soaring low over fields and marshes while you're out hunting. But what's its real name? Is it A, the red-tailed hawk, B, the northern harrier, or C, the peregrine falcon? Your choices again are the red-tailed hawk, the northern harrier, or the peregrine falcon. Send us your answer on our Facebook page at Northwestern Outdoors Radio or through our website at northwesternoutdoors.com. If you give us the right answer, you've got a chance to win a $25 gift card from Sportsman's Warehouse. They've got 60 stores around the country and over 23 here in the Northwest, so plenty of places to use it for fishing, hunting, or camping gear in the near future. We're giving one away to somebody who answers correctly. So again, enter now on our Facebook page at Northwestern Outdoors Radio or through our website at northwesternoutdoors.com. In other upcoming events, April 18th is looking to be a good day to learn how to fish and hunt in Oregon because there's free archery instruction available at the E.E. Wilson Wildlife Area Archery Range in Corvallis, and family fishing events going on at Central Oregon's McNary Channel Ponds from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. and at Middle Empire Lake in Coos Bay from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. You can find out more on the ODFW website. Just go to their outdoors calendar page for these events and other fun ones in the future meant to get you and your family outside. If you're looking for a little adrenaline and a good spectator sport, head to Riggins, Idaho from the 17th through the 19th and take in the annual jet boat races going on there. The water is roaring down the Salmon River, and couple that with the power of jet boats racing along the water, and you've got a recipe for all sorts of fun. That's the annual jet boat races in Riggins, Idaho. That's all for this week. I hope you enjoyed our conversation with Marty Smith about the whitewater fun you can have rafting in northern Idaho. If you want to go ahead and find out more, go to 3riversresort.com. Likewise, there's some great fishing to be done throughout the Northwest, and I hope you got some great ideas from the Grizzly Hackle Fly Shop in Missoula, from our favorite guide Nate Luther, who fishes in Hell's Canyon for sturgeon and smallmouth, Rob Gudgel, who wants to take you halibut fishing off the mouth of the Columbia, and from Chris Pacell, the new fishing manager at the Sportsman's Warehouse store in Spokane. If you didn't get a chance to hear all of our show, well, just go to our website at northwesternoutdoors.com. You can hear it there, and you can also hear our show on another internet station too. It's RenoViolaOutdoors.com. It's the home of WRVO Radio. We're one of 30 outdoor programs that airs there 7 days a week. If you need an outdoors radio fix, it's a great place to go. That's RenoViolaOutdoors.com. You've got to love springtime in the Northwest, especially if you're into rafting and fishing, and for that matter, hiking and bicycling and wildlife watching, and much sooner than later, camping too. Until next time, take care, God bless, and make it a point to spend some time outdoors.